How different?
Basil, how's it going?
I'm doing well.
Good, good.
No
I appreciate
complaints.
your time. I felt awful having to leave the last time because you were saying a lot of things that I needed to hear. Like you were sharing
Mm.
the journey, and
So,
on my end, I don't get to know the pain that someone goes through.
mm, mm.
And like when you were sharing that story with me, there was so much I felt there was more things I needed to hear so I could connect better with
Yeah,
people
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, like I said, I do it with gladness. First of all, I really regard you as my friend.
Appreciate
And well, and if my story can help one guy, then I think then I made up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes we don't get to
That's
see what people go through.
mm, mm. Yeah, but I love this new idea of the recalculation. I just laughed at the explanation.
Oh,
I
okay.
think the thing,
Yeah.
the cows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
just shows you the mentality, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. So Basil, yeah, the last time you had amazing stuff. 2 o'clock, I've got a session, so I want to make sure I get this thing good from
A
you.
pleasure.
Yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what was it like like before the masterclass? Maybe let me ask you there. How were
Well,
you finding this information? Where were you going to check?
yeah, before the masterclass, as I said, a lot of uncertainty in my heart, a lot of doubt. Uh, I did a lot of inquiry. I digged around. Uh, I more or less had an idea, uh, but it wasn't certain.
Sorry, when you
Then
say you had an idea, like you knew you wanted to retire or resign, is that the idea, or where to take things?
I was more or less reasonably sure at that stage that I think the best would be to resign. Especially when I started having a look at my figures, and I saw that first part missing the so-called retirement costs. And yeah, I smelt a rat. But I worked so hard for my money over so many years, and now all of a sudden, so much of it has seemed to have disappeared.
Yeah.
Uh, and the other hand, I desperately tried, or not tried, I had the idea keep on to the medical aid because that's the one sort of benefit that I would need most in life going forward. Then Masterclass came and it absolutely confirmed to me basically everything that I knew
Mm.
uh, and more. But when you started dealing with your own journey and your own honesty about dealing with your customers, how you discovered your own passion for your customers, and obviously shared your father's story, if I can put it that way.
Mhm.
You open up retirement versus uh, resignation. You took the annuities versus the um, cash, if you can say the cash money cashing in hand. Of
Mhm.
everything, it just to a certain extent. No, 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 no. To every extent, it just lit up the sky for me. And at that stage, I could honestly say, this is it. And And that's also then when I contacted you and said, but now I'm 100% sure. Now I'm not uncertain anymore. Yes, I still have a bit of issues concerning medical. I still have a bit of questions here and there, but my mind was set up. I made a mind shift. Now, to me now, there was no more what if. Maybe retirement is better because then, etc., etc., etc. I started making my own sums, and I discovered that if I work on the GEPF, I can almost say formulas, what they gave to me, the values they gave to me, etc., etc., and the fact that they also told me that the same guys from GEPF told me, first of all, do not resign. I started wondering, now, why not? Why not resign? To me, what are you trying to hide? Then, like I started making sums. I started playing around, I started discovering, in their own words, your money basically only sort of, in inverted commas, guaranteed for 5 years. And while nobody has the right to play God or whatever and say, I will live longer than 5 years, I've also discovered in my life that most of the guys pass away before 5 years because they go sit down and do bugger all. They now literally retired. And I discovered, but that's not me. First of all, I'm too active for that. So that means Lord willing, I will be living more than 5 years. So am I then living on borrowed money, borrowed time? Where does the rest of the money come from then all of a sudden? That started bothering me.
Right.
And everything just opened up to me, and I discovered, but listen, this is absolutely the best way to go. That is resignation.
Prior to that, Basil, prior to that, what was going through your mind that maybe made you feel doubtful about resigning?
There are so many fly-by-nights in the market. First of all, that couldn't you, as Devon, be one of them? Another guy with beautiful promises, painting beautiful pictures on paper, but in the end, only enriching your own pocket. Then, first of all, just a bit before masterclass and in masterclass, I started to discover the genuine Devon. And that's the guy, if I was a girl, I would say I fell in love with. Then I started to say, but this guy is absolutely trustworthy. It's not just so much that he makes the right noises, but I can honestly experience the love flowing from him. I can honestly experience the genuineness flowing from him. And by started making my own figures, I started seeing that, but what Devon is saying is facts. And then I said, but trust him. That was the one part. Then the other part was, obviously, so many guys has come and gone before me from the GEPF. They've taken their money, but mostly as packages. Tried a business, and within, let's say, 5 years, they're down to nothing. And I had a bit of, luckily for me, I'm from a very business-orientated family. And I started making mental sums again. That's not what I want. I have a family member who worked for an organ of state many years ago. As a fitter and turner, he resigned, took the money, invested with my dad then, started going into business.
Mm-hmm.
One thing led to the other. My dad eventually sold. This guy, this family member of mine, moved over eventually to my dad's brother after my dad helped him there. He became half partners in the business. Later on, my dad's brother passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden there's just one partner in the business, and currently they're struggling, or not they, because it's the family struggling like hell to survive.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't got the business sense. Now, I've got to be honest, although I come from a business-oriented family, I haven't got that business savvy, maybe to go into a business, run it. I've been used to, let's put it that way, the state type of way so much in my life. But I also realized that, like I said, I worked hell hard for my money. This money somehow has got to last. It's not to say that I can't go out now, try something else, a new sideline or whatever, but this has got to be my main income source. And therefore I can't make a mistake on it. And then it came, I can't just let it go through a fly by night.
Mm-hmm.
I also asked a very well-known national company, which is also around here, which has offices in Langebaan, which is about 60 km from us. Apparently, but now also they also have offices in Friedenberg. But I asked them to have a look into my situation as well.
Yeah. Was this before or after the
my
masterclass, Basil?
before the masterclass, Devin.
Okay. So was your mind still set on resigning, but you just like what was missing for you that you needed clarity on?
Good question. I think I had a lot of self-doubt. To me, maybe I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my own thoughts. I didn't trust my own homework. But to a certain extent, I think I was also too careful, rather over careful than sorry at the end.
Mm.
Obviously, then these guys didn't do squat about my stuff. They just sent me a message saying, I will rather, after having to literally lick them for something, they just said to me, now stick on the GPF. Money is secure and it's guaranteed for life, etc., etc. And once again, when I saw that little word "for life," alarm bells went off. How can it be guaranteed for life if I've only got X amount available? As I said, did my sums, and it just didn't add up. And then still, on top of that, should I pass away, in argument's sake, like 20 years from now, at the ripe age of 80, my wife still on top of that still gets another 50% of what I got. Doesn't make sense. Where does that money come from? Then it's got to be robbed from somewhere else. Isn't it a matter of stealing from Peter to pay Paul? And I wasn't happy with that. I also didn't want my wife to struggle in the end. Yeah, okay. And then after a few attempts, first of all, I went for knee op, knee replacement. And while being in bed at that stage, recovering, my heart just sort of started getting more calm. I started getting calmer and calmer because I'm not running around. Now, obviously, I'm not running around. But then I started watching your videos on YouTube, and I started absorbing them.
How did you find me?
Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not a great Facebook fan. I don't run around. But this day, I always say God makes everything his servant. I think when I needed it the most, I went through this other company, didn't have the satisfaction. I did my own homework, still didn't get the answers I wanted, or the rest and peace at the heart that I really felt I needed. And then I met up with you on Facebook, and I immediately started retirement versus resignation. He says, really, could it be? Could it be that there's really one guy that knows what I'm going through at this stage? Could it be that this guy really knows about my struggles? What is that I'm struggling? And then I said, well, let's give it a try, because it seems to be the answer.
Basil, if you put down the struggles, right? Like if you had to put it in words, what would you say those struggles were?
Mental doubts concerning my financial future. Must I resign? Must I pension? What if I resigned, but I should have gone on pension? What if I went on pension, but I should have resigned? And then at one stage, my head started swinging back to retirement.
What was it that made you what happened that made you want to swing in that direction?
Security and medical aid. But then I joined up and I had the masterclass, and I cannot tell you in words how everything literally opened up. To me it was like Guy Fawkes Day, all these rockets going up and exploding in there, and hundreds and thousands of stars. It was just wow. Why didn't I see this before? Why didn't I give attention to this? I had to look at my annuities. I said, yeah, I've got annuities, but are they really the answer? And when I started looking at my annuities, I decided, no, good Lord, I've got, I think it was something up to, I was under the impression I had one or let's say two, and we started discovering, but hey, through the figures that you eventually gave to me, there's 5 of them. Why? And then it went back to the old story of doubt. So many guys have come through the past, promise you heaven and earth, but actually all they want to do is write a policy. And with you, I didn't find that. I didn't find just another policy writer. I found somebody that wanted to come into my heart and into my head and really walk the walk with me and experience the way I experience it.
Mm.
And in the same sense, I experienced with you that being in business for the time that you have been, first of all, you can't be a fly-by-night. Because if you were a fly-by-night, you would have been gone long ago. And I also went to Hello Peter. And I think there was one mentioning of Devanika and retirement wellness on Hello Peter, and it was absolutely fantastic. Not one single negative word. But damn it, this is it. Why struggle? Why reinvent the wheel when it is already there? Yeah, and then the rest is basically history. Since the masterclass, you and I started really walking. We had our first consultation. You were honest to me, and you showed the financial implications of the costs involved in doing the planning. But you were also honest enough to show me that by just saving on tax alone, let alone anything else, the tax alone would be a bit more than a saving if compared to your fees. So it was like you're now being penny wise and pound foolish. Why are you looking against figures of let Devon's few pennies that he makes out of this versus the dollars, if I can put it that way? It really lit up. It really lit the sky up. And I've never been sorry. You took me by the hand. You guided me through the policies. You guided me through the RAs. You guided me through everything, Devon. You guided me through the process of retirement, supplied me the forms. You did all the homework beforehand. At the end, it was like you were the chef in a gourmet restaurant. You're the guy that stands in the back, prepares all these absolutely fantastic dishes. And I'm the client coming into the restaurant, sitting, enjoying every morsel. So why was a gourmet chef not allowed to be paid? And this gourmet chef put something in front of me that I've never experienced. And since then, I've made it almost my motto to warn everyone of what they're going to lose if they don't do the resignation route. I started speaking to my colleagues. I started sharing videos. I started with my own testimony. And it is astonishing still to see how many skeptics there are. They prefer the retirement part because funds are guaranteed. It's the better way to do it. Then I don't like to argue with people that much. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Then I sort of pull away, but I still keep on giving information. And slowly but surely, this seems to be paying off. One or two of my colleagues have started inquiring. One of my colleagues in the office has come to me and said, the stuff that you've been talking about, I've been thinking about it. What if, what if, what if? But this is the way to go. And I could tell him, think of you. Okay, he's thinking of going on at 55, which is, let's say, 2 years from now. And I tell him, think of the penalties you pay of early retirement. Yeah. Think of all this stuff, and think of the pros if you take your money, all your money, your resignation money, put it into an IRA or a preservation fund without losing a single cent, without losing a single cent on tax, without losing a single cent on penalties. And looks like money is a universal language, because when guys seem to start realizing that, the whole ballgame changes. Well, to me, it did. Why pay the taxman all that money when you could have diverted tax-free and without being dishonest, playing according to government rules, playing according to SARS rules, but just being able to save. Why not? I couldn't see why not. You actually, I think you'll be stupid if you don't do it. And then obviously, one of the other reasons why I eventually joined up with you, Devon, is the fact that you are a professional in the field. You've got so much experience in the GEPF itself, and that you are a certified financial planner. My dad taught me one thing in life, and that is, if you want your car serviced, you go to a mechanic. If you need legal advice, you go to an attorney. In other words, basically what he said is, whatever you want to do in life, you go to a professional, the guy that specializes in his field. You don't go to Jack the backyard mechanic if you want your Merc serviced. You don't go to your chummy around the corner who's a police officer when you want serious legal advice. You go to your attorney. If you've got a tax problem, do you speak to your financial consultant at work? No, you don't. You speak to a proper tax planner. You speak to a bookkeeper, auditor, stuff like that. So then, if I want to resign or retire and have clarity on what I need to do, why don't I speak to a professional? A professional that talks sense as well and shows me the way forward. Like you know, Delint, my wife, had some of her own doubts, which we shared with you. You had a one-on-one again with us, with the two of us together, and you illustrated it by your usual drawings and your usual facts, and that vision of stuff. And if I can put it in a nice way, I think she is now one of your biggest disciples. And she just told me that she trusts me now 100% in what's the way is ahead. And she's got complete peace. Maybe I just put it before that. Then she had a lot of questions, She wasn't she wasn't, didn't have peace in her heart, because this is a heck of a move to make.
What was concerning
Literally
her,
resigned.
Basil?
Sorry?
What was concerning her?
Future, the funds, the surety of exactly, will this funds be guaranteed for life? How can it be guaranteed for life? What about the medical? Then you came up with the illustration of the preservation fund. You showed and me, you showed us then risky profiles, what it looks like. You showed us on my annuities of the the risky profile of how they were and where they were invested, and the growth in it. You then drew up the preservation fund and a more stable fund, and made us decide what is the best, having a risky fund that spikes up and falls down to almost nothing and then picks up again and spikes again, or something that's more stable, that grows gradually at a lesser speed, but at the end has a much better yield. And she grasped that. I grasped it. And for both of us since then, there's been no turn back. And the Lint is also speaking about, although she's still about 10 years away, I can almost say starting with the chip with you now already. So just shows you, to me, it shows trust. It shows how her mind was swung and how she saw the light. And even my whole marriage has changed since that decision, in the sense that I've just become more calm. I was fidgeting around. I was irritated. I wasn't at peace.
Yeah. Was it just stress?
Yeah. And then the moment I made my decision, and you and I had a date, we said, okay, we will do this and submit documents by that date. As usual, I think I was a day or what before you. I said, I've already submitted to my HR. That was the most fantastic date in my life. And even before that, because when my HR started telling me, no, there's a lot of time still, don't wait. I became cheeky and said, to hell with that. You're now playing with my money. If I don't get my money in time, are you going to fund me for 3 or 4 or 6 months? Are you going to pay my pension or the money that I need to survive on? And it swung their heads as well. Immediately gave me the forms. I completed it. I got all my documents together. I submitted it. I had to undergo an exit interview. That document was given to me. I was even cheeky enough to do my own exit interview and just give to my commander, sign, please.
Yeah.
I was just so fired up. And since that date, I've had the most amazing peace. And to me, that peace only comes after knowing that you made the right decision. And I'm so looking forward to the way forward. To me, it was the best I could have ever done. There's no doubt about it. So
That's amazing.
that's
Basil, yeah, I want to check. I I do something different for members, right? Because I ask for like this deposit upfront. It gets refunded,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
what was going through your mind there? Because now I'm telling you, hey, Basil, I need you to pay this 20,000 upfront. You're gonna get it at the end
yeah.
when those other fees come in. But what was going, did you have
Mhm.
any hesitation?
No, I trusted you 100%, Evan. And even if that money wasn't refundable, I would have still done it. Because at the end, what I get is putting down, like you say, a deposit
Mm,
is a small price for the final outcome. And I also understood it because
okay.
there are so many. I spoke about fly-by-nights, meaning the financial service providers, but there's always two sides to a coin. Uh, Financial service providers also get to do with a lot of fly-by-nights. I can sit with you in consultation after consultation after consultation, speaking the right words at the right time, but at the end, I disappear. And
Mm,
the deposit is like is a retainer for me to stick to my decisions and not have second thoughts afterwards, because I'm going to be wasting my own money and my own time. That means I've got to be serious with my own time, my own money, and I've got to be serious that this is the way that I'm going to go.
okay.
So you had just as much right to ask a retainer or to ask a deposit than I had to uh, to expect honesty and clarity from you.
Right. And when you were in the masterclass,
Yeah.
if you had to pick one thing that just stood out and it was like, yes, that's it, that you got from it, and now you know resigning is the way, what would you say it was?
I can immediately name three things.
Go
It's
for it.
the cost of retirement in inverted commas, where your money disappears. When you take your 1/3 lump sum
Yes.
and you calculate from your retirement benefit, and you see, but there's something like 500,000 rand missing, which was on my
Yeah.
portfolio. You you ask questions, and that is major questions that are asked. You came with with the answer to me. This is the idea. This is GEPF's idea of um, pensioning and the so-called fees, which I don't tell you about.
Mm.
At least when I started dealing with you, you were up and you were honest. You said, listen here, this is my normal fee. Are you willing to pay it? What
Mm.
can you afford? I said, okay, let's have a look. You and I made an agreement. And it's like GEPF didn't do that. They don't do that. They keep quiet about the money. You If you don't even really start asking, you don't really realize that money has disappeared, because you just look bluntly into the figures. Lump sum 1/3. let's say, take a figure, 800,000 rand. But you don't do the calculation from, let's say, 5 million. 1/3 should be around about 1.5 million. Now, where's the rest of the money?
Mm.
A lot of us don't do that calculations.
Okay.
And like I said, and then tax savings. Why pay the tax man all that money if you could avoid it? It made business sense to me.
Mm.
And then also, third thing that stood out to me is, should I resign and I take my money into my living annuity and or preservation fund, let's put it that way, I can have the same yield as what I have with GEPF. And plus, I can choose my own annual increase. But on top of that, my money will still be there the day I pass away. My wife and my kids will still have a legacy.
Mm.
And that's the three things together that blew my mind. So I didn't want to leave or lose part of my money to the GEPF. Why must I? Why must I enrich somebody else? I'm not stingy, but I work bloody hard for my money. And that's the three things that stood out for me.
Basil, on resignation prior to masterclass, did you ever have this feeling you could run out of money?
Yes, I had.
What was concerning you that would happen?
I went to a counselor, helping me to prepare mentally as well for my retirement. And both Dylan and I spoke about it. And he had a look at me and said, "Are you crazy? Look at this, look at that. Your money won't last you, let's say, 10 years. And he challenged me to go back to the drawing board and come back to him later on and tell him what I decided.
Yeah.
I did recalculations. It's when I spoke to you. That's also when Delint came in. And I still had the clarity that I was doing the right thing. And at the end, I could go back to this counselor and tell him, I made my decision. This is what it's based on. And I'm happy. His words to me, I'm glad you did your homework. So, yeah. I've got no doubt that I made the right decision. It was a long journey. It was a tough mental journey. But it was worth it. And I'm looking forward to it, to the rest. Up until such a way, now that I've taken my final. Oh, another thing that stood out. Yeah, one thing more. Hey, coming up more. Is that also that I was under the impression by leaving, I could take my leave, I could have my leave paid out. Then I discovered, no, you can't have it paid out. Once you resign, you're not going to get your leave. And I had a bit of capped leave, which is not much, less than 1 day, 0.93 days. They told me, then I went to my HR and he said, no, you can't have it. I said, bugger you, that's my work. It's, even if it's less than that, it's my day. I want it. And I made my figures, my sums. I said, good Lord, am I going to miss all this money? Once again, am I going to lose all this money? I immediately put in leave to take the balance of my leave.
Wow.
And as of Monday, I'm on leave. Lekker, man.
Nice.
So I've got now I'm on a month's leave. So month's paid leave. I still get my salary. And I don't lose a cent. Once again, I don't lose a cent. So, Devin, thank you. It's an honor to work with you. It's amazing.